We like to talk with Warren Roberts. He is the Superintendent Emeritus of the UC Davis Arboretum and Public Garden. We always like to get a plant of the week from him. And today's plant is one of my favorites. It has great fall color. It has tasty fruit. It has a wonderful whitish bark. It's hard to dislike anything about the persimmon, Warren.
No, I agree. It's a tree we're talking about. The scientific name is Diospyros kaki, Diospyros kaki. The specific epithet in this case is the Japanese common name, or one of the Japanese common names.
Now, we should not confuse that with the American persimmon.
The name persimmon comes from the Powhatan language of the Algonquian language group. Powhatan was spoken, or still is, in the Virginia area. And in fact, the word opossum is also from the same language. And opossums feed on persimmons.
Oh, well, it's a rather widespread American tree. It's native from Connecticut to Kansas to Texas and Florida.
Yes, I think it even gets into Mexico. And in Mexico, there's another species, Diospyros digina, which is the sapote negro, or the black sapote, and also edible. The sapote negro is a rather large fruit. The Diospyros virginiana is about the size of a ping pong ball, maybe a little smaller. And a very similar species in Asia, Diospyros lotus, Lotus, looks much the same. Now, almost all persimmons to be edible need to blet, B-L-E-T. And that means a softening, ripening, so that when the fruit is firm, it's amazingly astringent, where there are exceptions. But the fruit needs to blet or soften. Then it can be et. That's the blet before it's et.
In the world of the Japanese or Oriental persimmon, of course, there's the Fuyu persimmon, which is non-astringent, and you can eat that when it's firm.
That one and the Gosho cultivar, which is similar but larger than the Fuyu. Yes, you can eat them. They should be a good orange color, though.
Right.
If they still have some green on them, you can eat them, but they're not very sweet. And very delicious. Oh, my goodness, it's great in so many things, in salads and in desserts. And then you can also let the fuyu ripen like the hachiya, which is the large one with the rather pointed tip. That one cannot be eaten firm, but when it softens, it's tasty.
You could eat it when it is firm, but have somebody standing by with a camera to take a picture of your face.
Yes, you can. There's also a way, evidently, of making little slits underneath the calyx. That's that rather beautiful for pointed leafy structure at the base of the persimmon, and then turning the persimmon upside down and putting alcohol, ethanol, regular, vodka, in the space, and then after several days, the astringency disappears. I've never tried that. I've just heard about that.
Seems like a waste of vodka.
Well, except then you have a hachiya, which is firm, and you can eat it when it's firm. And if you have persimmon trees, usually they produce way more fruit than a family can eat. But you can make wonderful desserts from it. Persimmon pudding is something I've known most of my life, and it's like plum pudding, but using persimmon and walnuts, and it's just so delicious. But it used to be that I said I would eat one persimmon a year, one of those big, sloppy, soft hachiyas, and enjoy it, and then next year I'd have one again. But over the years, I've softened, as it were, and I'll eat them whenever they're available.
Well, you've lost a lot of your astringency.
Yes, I have. But one of the really fine things, as you were pointing out earlier about the persimmon, is how beautiful they are on the tree, and the fall color of the Diospyros kaki, the common what we call Asian persimmon or Japanese persimmon, is that the fall color is beautiful, oranges, reds, and in between. And then when they fall, the tree is still covered with this beautiful, not covered, but is ornamented with these beautiful orange fruit, which stay on the tree until they drop or until they're picked. And it's just it's a really breathtaking sight. in the late fall, a persimmon tree with the fruit still hanging in the tree.
I was marveling at one today while driving up to the Sierra Nevada foothills to Auburn. It was next to the road, and it was a big tree. It looked to be about 40 feet tall, and it looked like a Christmas ornament.
Yes, they do. It's just amazing. Of course, Christmas ornaments are said to imitate fruit anyway. But I think in that case, in Eastern Asia, the pomegranate. But the persimmon tree is so beautiful. But if you have one, make sure you have friends or family members that like the tree, because they make a real mess if you would just let them fall. Now, in our neighborhood, we have three species of squirrels, 2 native and 1 not, that will pick up after the persimmon tree. But most of the time, it's picked and shared.
Exactly. And as I like to do, dehydrate them, slice them up into 1/4-inch slices and put them on the dehydrator for a few hours.
Oh, yes. And then you can enjoy them all year. Oh, another little footnote to persimmons is that the ebony, the beautiful black tropical wood, is the wood of species of persimmon. And it's so the persimmon is in the ebony family, the Eboniaceae. I think, though, it's better to let the tree stand and save the wood for the tree itself and enjoy the fruit.
We should probably delineate a bit about the differences between the American persimmon and the Japanese persimmon, the tree itself, in that the American persimmon isn't quite as well-mannered, shall we say, as the Japanese persimmon.
Well, no, I guess you could say that. But in that case, the fruit is certainly not edible until it has bled and fallen. But then when you eat it, it tastes like butterscotch. It's so delicious. The American persimmon is amazingly tasty. But if you don't want the fruit, probably not a good idea to plant the tree. However, possums love them and will clean up after them. There are several mature North American persimmons in the area. There's an old one in Capitol Park that has beautifully tessellated bark. It looks like tiles set in the trunk. And in that case, there are female trees and male trees for the American persimmon. But I don't know of anybody who has selected them for the male form, which would be more useful in landscapes, I think.
Yeah, the Japanese persimmon, you can control the height of the tree as well to make it easier to pick the fruit. And I will vouch for what you were saying about possums and persimmon trees. At my former place, there were broken branches in the persimmon trees from possum climbing the tree and going too far out on the branch.
Sort of the impossible dream, I guess.
Impossible dream. Thank you very much for that. Yes. But the persimmon, it's a tasty fruit once it's either softened up, if it's an astringent variety, or if it's a non-astringent variety like the Fuyu. The best-selling home persimmon on the market is the Fuyu persimmon, and it's just a wonderful fall treat. I would highly recommend you get one. Warren Roberts, Superintendent Emeritus of the UC Davis Arboretum and Public Garden. Hey, thanks for the persimmon.
You're welcome.